Good morning and welcome to the Breakfast Show. We are your usual hosts who love you the most, Patrick Soko and Shalon Kalimbola. Together we'll be with you up the hour of 9. Good morning, madam.
Good morning, thanks. Good morning to the viewers. Welcome to Eating It. It is the Wednesday edition of the Breakfast Show. Patrick, to the viewers out there, Patrick, do you know that he's a poet? He's an artist. No wonder he likes coming up with these tomatoes, like the ones who love you the most. They want, you know. He's an artist. He loves art. He does poetry. So yeah, I'm advertising him right now. If you want him to coach your children in poetry, just give me a call. I'm his manager.
Wow. A lot of things have happened.
I'm the candidate of Patrick.
A lot of things have happened. I've gotten myself a manager, a promoter, everything at once.
Yes. The helicopter of Patrick. But anyways, welcome to Eat. We will be looking at the stories that made headlines as of yesterday to set the tone for today. We'll also go into the morning boost. We'll look at some of the trending issues in football. Of course, Patrick is geared and ready to speak his mind insofar as football is concerned. In case you're not aware, the World Cup is on. I'm not very eager when it comes to football, but at least I know that the World Cup is on and that Nigeria did qualify, including Zambia. So yeah, we have reached almost the final stage, Patrick, of football, and he will be giving us an update on that. Let's look at the morning post this morning to help us kickstart the day on a healthier note.
Ladies and gentlemen, again here with Cholwe, and we are gonna start with a stretch. Ten, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. The other side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Alright, so we're gonna start with squat jumps for a minute. To squat, so squatting, knees don't move to the front or butt. 1 minute of those, the modified version if you can't jump. So we're starting up, just like the modified version, up, advanced. Up, modified version, but out. You don't want to the front. Remember that. Up, just like that. Up, advanced. You breathe. Good. You should feel the bend. It's a very good bend. The next one for 1 minute, we're just gonna kick to the front. You kick. We're going for 1 minute. Kick. could go 10 seconds of this. All right. Thank you so much. To the next episode.
Welcome back. You are watching the Camnet Breakfast Show, and interestingly, we were just looking at our first segment at the morning booster, where we get to flex our muscles early in the morning. We always advise that if you don't know the drills, you can always wait for the breakfast show and just see how they are coaching us in terms of how you can go about it. Sometimes you know that doing something wrongly when you are exercising also has consequences. So it is always advised that you learn it from the experts or the people who know it how to do it better, so that you do not end up worsening the situation. Otherwise, you may be find yourself in a situation where, I remember at the time Elijah would be lifting a crankshaft where the other part it is heavier, the other one it is not. Lighter. So you discover that it becomes big the other side. Yeah, so we have to make sure that every time you do it correctly, because if you do not do it right, sometimes it may have serious health complications. So when we bring you the morning boost, we want to just make sure that collectively we do it right.
Exactly, Patrick. I think each body part here has a type of exercise that you're supposed to undertake. It's just not everything. Especially for women nowadays, they want to have this slender body, they want to have this flat belly. I don't even know what you people...
You don't want...
No, I say, well, why? Am I stressing myself? I just need to be fit. I think that's what I need. I'm not going to be focusing on making my body become a certain way or a dough or something. Of course, if it comes, it's a bonus. But then my focus is just to lead a healthier life. So really, whether you want to loosen your belly fat, you want to have your bum become bigger. Women now.
And I saw a question on social media, Sharon, suggesting to say, if a man marries you today and they tell you no makeup, no weave, no these things you do yourselves as women, would you still go ahead with a marriage?
I don't think so, because for me it's a controlling factor. It's not even about the makeup. It's not even about the what, but it's the controlling factor that I wouldn't want. Patrick, I think people should be given the long rope to tie themselves. Of course, if somebody is mature enough, they will be able to be responsible for what they do in that relationship. Be it a marriage or just a courting stage, they will be able to know what they're supposed to do. So really, if you are telling me to stop certain things, meaning now I'm not even mature enough to control myself, that means I'm not worthy being with you. At the same time, if you're too controlling when I've got enough brains to think, that means you're not good enough for me. So really, for me, no, I can't. It's a no. It's a no. Just let me be.
Interesting.
Just let me be. For now, we look at what the doctors have for us. We're still in the zone of health. Yesterday, Patrick, you did a story regarding the HIV, TB, and hepatitis. And we'll also look at that story to couple it up with our health segment. Let's look at this.
My name's Dr. Ebedi Sadoki, a public health specialist, currently with USAID SAFE. Today, I'll talk about how to treat mental health illnesses. I'd spoken about the triggers, I'd spoken about what it is all about, how it manifests or shows itself, but today, let's talk about treatment. For awareness, I feel like talking about treatment is very important so that those that need it can not be discouraged, but seek for medical help whenever they find themselves having some of these symptoms, maybe even early enough. So most of the treatment, if approached early, can be solved with counseling, with professional counseling, sitting down and talking about it, running through it. And there are qualified psychosocial counselors who are all over the country and can help us whenever we need it. And then in other cases, there can be medical treatment, that is having to swallow tablets for the purpose of treating the mental health illness. And for our clients, the mental health, mentally ill clients, we need to ensure that we prepare a support system for adherence to medication. They need to have either a close relative or friend who will be reminding them to take these medications appropriately and on time and correctly. So I think for other conditions, maybe other patients can take their medications on their own, but for mental health disorders, because the mind may not be ready to remember and appreciate its importance, there's need for a treatment buddy or a case manager that is supporting the treatment. And then also there's need for disclosure. There's need to disclose that this is the condition and this is how we are going to treat it and this is how it will resolve. And then, of course, we need to address the forms of stigma that could be around it. Remember, I talked about in the introduction that I hope this awareness can help us change on how we look at mentally ill individuals, because we can find that there may be, if I give an example of a patient hallucinating and they've got cerebral malaria. But if there's someone with mental illness and also talking irrelevantly, you find that the other patient with malaria is taken good care of, is tolerated, is supported, whereby the mentally ill individual will be abused, sometimes physically, and they are pushed away, they are not brought close and supported. So it is important that through treatment, this support system is also looked into. So for today, thank you very much for listening. This was Dr. Sadoki with you on mental health awareness. So see you tomorrow when we talk about prevention. Thank you for listening and bye.
In Zambia live with HIV, and despite making progress to mitigate the pandemic, more still needs to be done. Tuesday, 13th December 2022, various stakeholders in the health sector converged for the 15th annual National HIV, TB, COVID-19 and Viral Hepatitis Technical Conference in Lusaka to discuss the way forward on combating diseases. The 3-day conference is being marked under the theme Every Person Counts, closing the gaps for HIV, TB, COVID-19, Hepatitis B virus pandemic through responsive, resilient and integrated health systems. National AIDS Council Director General Dr. Connie Osborne underscored the need for an inclusive approach to combating the pandemic.
Making every person count means that we need to focus on all the population groups that we unintentionally or intentionally leave behind. I'm referring to young people, including children who are 0 to 14 years. In Zambia, only 61% of children 0 to 14 years living with HIV access treatment, compared to 98% in adults.
Dr. Caroline Olwande represented the UN AIDS.
Insufficient investment and action have put the AIDS response in danger, with increased risks of millions of AIDS-related deaths and millions of new HIV infections. In 2021 alone, 650,000 people were lost to AIDS, and there were 1.5 million people newly acquiring HIV. a whopping 1 million above the 2020 target of 500,000.
Meanwhile, Country Coordinating Mechanism Chairperson Bishop Joshua BANDA says there is a need to increase local resource mobilization on HIV.
On behalf of the CCM, we want to participate in working together to leverage the global resources that have so generously come into this country for us at this time as Zambia to have a significant increment in domestic financing. That is critical to sustainability of our efforts.
And Health Minister Sylvia Masebo affirmed government's dedication to ensure health and wellness for all.
The Ministry of Health has recognized the dire need to ensure sustainability of the response of these epidemics through domestic funding. So, Bishop, when you talk of domestic funding, I'm happy to inform you that this has been taken note by this administration. As we progress towards the final lap in the effort to control these epidemics, equity is critical.
Patrick Soko, Camnet News.
There you have it, Minister of Health Sylvia Masebo there with cooperating partners at the launch of the HIV, TB,
yes,
and hepatitis.
Yes, and
COVID-19 conference, which is a 3-day program, and it's still on today and tomorrow. Obviously, people are discussing various issues regarding these topics that we just mentioned. Let's look at how the kwacha is faring against the major convertibles. The Great British Pound is buying at 21 kwacha 43 ngwe and selling at 21 kwacha 85 ngwe. The United States dollars is at 17 kwacha 29 ngwe and selling at 17 kwacha 63 ngwe. The South African rand is at 0.99 ngwe and selling at 1.01 ngwe. The euro is at 18 kwacha 36 ngwe and selling at 18 kwacha 73 ngwe. Those are your money markets as of today, the 14th of December 2022. We are in the dying days of 2022, Patrick.
Yes.
Last time I asked you about your resolutions. I'm hoping that those that you thought will not materialize, we still had about 22 days then. So about 16 days.
16 days, huh? Okay.
16
still some
days.
time.
There's still some time. There's still hope. You know, Patrick, I don't know if I told you this, but I used to sing in a choir. I used to sing in a choir. I'm Catholic, by the way. I used to sing in a choir, and when there was competitions like St. Teresa, there's always St. Cecilia. There's always a competition for singing, and you know, our section would prefer to sing during the end of the day, like after 17.
Why was that?
We believed that and we would win, believe me. We would win, believe me.
But again,
Sharon, so what I'm trying to bring across here is that 16 days, as it may seem, the dying days of 2022, God will still bless you. I
know. I think that brings me to that other aspect, Sharon, where I was even wondering, how can you base your resolution on someone's perspective? How did you base your resolution that you should have an end of year party in 2022? Is it why you are even saying that in Chungo that we are going to have that party?
We will definitely have it.
I hope Mr. Chingwa is listening.
God will see us through in the 16 days, and we will eventually achieve what we think is impossible to achieve. Patrick Soko, let's talk about what's happening in the world of sports.
Yes, so we can look at the game that was played as of last evening, Sharon. Quite an interesting encounter between Argentina and Croatia. Saddening enough, Croatia
is out.
Yes, because they failed to contain Argentina, in that Argentina just proved to be a better side through and through. They scored 3 goals unanswered, and Croatia is quite unusual. Their defense, their midfield was porous, unlike what they have been in the past games. So they are just waiting to play off the 3rd and 4th.
Okay.
The one you were talking about last time. Yes. So today we are going to have an African country and as well as an Arab nation, that is Morocco, which will be playing against France. So it's going to be quite an interesting encounter in that Morocco people or Africans, including Sharon, are expecting that Morocco should win.
Yeah,
and
I'm
be
hoping.
able to meet Argentina in the final. So we are going to check that one out. And which team are you betting on?
I don't do those things, but I think Morocco really, like you mentioned, Patrick. I mean, it's pro-African. I don't really like to believe that it's Africa because of probably how they look. But anyways, yeah. So for me, it's Morocco. If not France.
It is Morocco playing against.
I know in the finals.
Which one are you supporting?
In the finals, like
Give
for
me a
this,
prediction.
For this, I'm supporting Morocco. Between France and Morocco, I'm going for Morocco. In an event that Morocco is out, you know, and then the finals are played by Argentina or France, I'm going for France. Okay. That's what I mean. So really,
what we are saying, Sharon, I want to also now just bring it to your perspective. I understand because you see most of the players. They look like they are white and everything. So you should do, but however, the geographical location in the case of in Africa, and they play the Africa Cup. They don't play the European League. They play the African.
I know.
Yes, so they are African 100%. You should take that into consideration. But we are also comforted in that. You may be saying that France, 90% of the players there, they are African.
Yes.
So
yes, the more reason why I'm going for France. That's the more reason I'm going for France. Believe me, no two ways about it.
Okay, so let's see how it's going to go. So Argentina are already through to the final. They are just waiting the winner between Morocco and France to be. The match will be played on is it a Sunday? Yes, that will be the final on Sunday. Croatia will be playing against the loser in today's semi-final. So we just hope that Morocco manages to reach the final, because it will be, if Morocco wins and eventually wins the final, it will be the first African country to have won the Africa Cup. And what the progression of Morocco so far to this stage of the competition has also boosted Africa's chances in terms of getting more slots to the World Cup, because the 2026 is it 2026 World Cup. The next World Cup, we are going to have more teams that are going to be playing the World Cup, and Africa also gets more slots. And we just hope that by then Zambia will be strong enough to have a team that can qualify to the World Cup.
I hope so, Patrick. I hope so.
Yeah, but lately, Sharon, that we have been struggling to qualify even for the Africa Cup. So that has been quite a sad development, and we're just trying to be so ambitious that we would want to eye the World Cup. But we have consolation in the ladies. Women are doing us proud, Sharon, in that they'll be playing the World Cup for women, which is a
and
plus.
And they haven't really, because you people have been, so much on the World Cup, the men's thing. No wonder I always say football is just a man's team, because really you have overshadowed what happened to Baritea.
No, they'll be playing. So I think they will have their moment. So we'll focus on them. Even when we talk about the fixtures, just remind me that we have to maintain. We have to be always talking about it. Sharon, I expected you to steer this agenda, but if you're not going to steer it,
no, I you know me, I'm not a football fanatic. So I just saw a tweet from who's this? There's a guy that well known, really. He posted, I think that was Vincent Mwale, actually, a former minister and former member of parliament in Eastern Province. He tweeted to say, while you people are celebrating the World Cup, our girls have qualified to the World Cup. I was like, oh, okay. And the way he was bashed, like on Twitter, like, you're bored, you're what? It's like, okay, guys, he's really right. He's talking about our people here. Why are you really?
But moreover, the World Cup, the World Cup is a global showpiece.
Yeah.
There is no event in this world that is like the World Cup. So even Sharon, it's a promoted event that Sharon just hosting it is a huge privilege that nations are fighting over.
Of which
what about qualifying? It's a privilege. What about winning it? What about progressing to the semi-final, the quarter-finals? You see, the World Cup comes with that prestigiousness. And you can imagine, across the globe, eyes on the screens, watching.
Let's talk about Morocco, Patrick. How is this team really? Has it been a team that has been doing very fine? Has it won the Africa Cup? Sorry, I'm very ignorant when it comes to these things.
Yes, the Africa Cup missed Morocco several times.
Several times, so it's a great team.
It's a great team. It's a competitive nation. It's not like
so it's not shocking that they've reached this far.
Let me say there are a few privileged countries in Africa that have been able to qualify to the World Cup. Among them is Morocco, Algeria, Tunisia. We have Nigeria, Cameroon.
You know those guys, when you talk about Algeria, and Tunisia, Ghana, and Morocco, basungu.
So no, now let me also bring it to your perspective, Sharon. The other thing is that most teams are judged by the number of expatriate players they have. So if you see Nigeria, it is a team that can have from the goalkeeper to the top striker, all expatriates. They playing in super leagues, playing in the English Premier League, the Spanish league. Most of their players, same as Ghana, they have most of their stars in Europe. Those teams that are doing fine, their players are playing at a big huge level, big stage. Yes, you put it right. So you cannot compete with us. For example, if you're going to use players that are playing for Maite, Mufurira Wanderers, then you go and
Power Rangers.
I'm giving an example.
Is it at Power Rangers?
It's not easy.
Do we have Power Rangers in Zambia?
No.
That's a
Power Dynamos.
Power Dynamos. What is Power Rangers?
Is it the Rangers you talk about, the magazine and something like that?
No, that's Super Strikers. Power Rangers, I think it's a like
in fact, we have Power Rangers.
But you're quite a cartoon form.
Even that is there also. But what I'm telling you is that, so if you look at Morocco, for example, I'll give you an example. Morocco is neighbor to Spain. The demarcation is a sea there. So Morocco is neighbor to Spain, Portugal, and other countries. So if you see the countries that are up north there, they are usually exposed to most of the people who take desperate journeys. They come from those countries.
Yeah.
You hardly see Zambians moving from Zambia here going to take a desperate journey to go to swim as a prohibited migrant there. You understand? Eh? So most of the people have easy access to Europe, to other continents. So like Morocco, most of the players are born from Spain. More in the case of Morocco, like Hakimi is a star who was playing for should be Inter Milan, and now it should be Inter Milan. Yes, if then from there is now playing in the English Premier League. He's playing he's playing. Is trade with Kylian Mbappe in the French league. So if you look at these players, Sharon, they are highly exposed. They play the same game these other guys are playing. So sometimes it's about exposure, the way the state of infrastructure they use, they are exposed to technology and everything contributes to the development of football, which sometimes small teams or small nations may not be privileged to have. So you discover that your friends will be playing the game with a mindset of a computer where you are programmed to say, when we say 4-3-2, they automatically change. When they say defend only, they know those techniques because that's how they train. You understand? But sometimes here when you say pamuntu, it may not be the same. You understand? So if you look at the likes of Patson Daka, Fashion Sakara, Enoch Mwepu, sad enough, is not able to continue playing for us. But if you look at Patson Daka and the level of experience he has, it's top notch.
It's top notch experience.
You understand? So imagine you look at Krings Kangwa. You understand? These are players now who are doing big for the national team. Why?
Because they're exposed.
They are exposed and they are playing good football.
So we need to export more.
So if we have more we export more players, but our national team is able to strong. Then the key also lies in strengthening the local league. If the first MTN First Super League is strong enough that it is more competitive, then we are able to be a nation that is competing favorably at global stage. If you look at Morocco, Tunisia, Algeria, and Nigeria, Ghana, these teams give the Southern African nations a tough time when it comes to the African League. When they are playing the league for the clubs, they give Southern African nations pressure. Sometimes South Africa is the team that has been able to be that competitive. Simba also in Tanzania. But if you look at how those guys would defend, how early, how hit hard when they come here to play, you see how these guys defend, Sharon. Their league guys are that strong, such that they become competitive. So when you mix a blend of expatriate players and the local players, the blend is solid.
And, is able to bring out the best results. But anyways, we wish Morocco the best, and hopefully they carry the day. We're still hoping, Patrick, in an event that it doesn't go through to the finals, we are betting our money on France. As of me and my house, actually, that's what I mean. Me and my house, we are betting our fortunes on France if at all Morocco fails to reach the final destination. However, let's look at one of the stories that we did yesterday, where a businessman of Lusaka's Lilai housing estate has testified before the Lusaka Magistrate Court how a deserter from the Zambia police was found lying in a pool of blood a few meters away from his house after he was shot by one of the residents when he attempted to break in the house. This is in a matter in which 26-year-old police officer Joshua Banda is accused of burglary and theft contrary to the laws of Zambia. Zenzo Siaka Jomba has told Magistrate Kelvin Soma that on the 11th of August 2022, he found his kitchen door open and accused blood on the floor. Let's look at this story as compiled by Miriam Gaimba, who was at the court yesterday.
The Lusaka's Magistrate Court has commenced hearing witness testimony in a case in which 26-year-old Joshua Banda, a deserter from the Zambia police who is alleged to have been terrorizing the residents of Lilai Estate with theft. Joshua Banda is facing allegations of burglary and theft before the Magistrate Court. Tuesday, as the first prosecution witness hit the dock, Nzenzo Skanjomba, a businessman of Lilai Housing Estate, narrated the event that occurred on the night of the 11th of August 2022, the day that Banda is accused of committing the alleged offense. Mr. Skanjomba testified that on the material day before sleeping, he ensured that all the doors and windows were secured, adding that of late his neighborhood has been subjected to a lot of theft of housebreaking by criminals. At around 02 hours, he heard noise on the kitchen side of his house, thinking it might have been a dog because the houses in the neighborhood are not fenced. However, before he would even catch his sleep once again, he heard 3 gunshots with screams and someone shouting, "Lie down." The witness has told Magistrate Kelvin Soma that after hearing that, he quickly rushed to see what was happening and found his kitchen door open with bloodstains on the floor and the accused a few meters away from his house, lying down after being shot. Next to him was a bunch of keys. They quickly rushed him to the clinic and reported the case to the police. The matter has been adjourned to January 2023, where the court is expected to move for a scene visit. According to a police statement earlier issued, the accused, a deserter from the Zambia police and has been on the police most wanted list. The statement had further disclosed that the complainant had informed the police that the criminals broke through the kitchen window. Unfortunately, he was awakened and managed to shoot at one of them in the left leg using a .22 rifle, whilst others managed to escape. Miriam Kaimba, reporting for Camnet TV News. Ziambo, a former permanent secretary at the Ministry of Agriculture, Tuesday morning denied corruption allegations that the state has slapped him with. Mr. Ziambo, who worked under the Patriotic Front administration as the permanent secretary, has pleaded not guilty with his co-accused, former principal agriculture economist Gray Mwale and former principal accountant Emmanuel Kawe, on corruption charge involving $131 million United States dollars in a case of unsupplied fertilizer. The trio, who appeared before the magistrate court this morning, is facing one count of making payment from the public revenue for goods not supplied in full. The state accuses the trio of being persons whose function concern administration of public revenue between January 1st, 2021 and December 31st, 2021, and Lusaka, whilst acting together, made a payment to Nelia's Investment Limited from the public revenue for goods not supplied in full. The matter comes upon the 30th of January 2023 for commencement of trial. Last month, the Anti-Corruption Commission arrested Mr. Ziambo and others for corruption involving $131 million United States dollars in a case of unsupplied fertilizer. In January this year, the Commission recorded a warn and caution statement from the former Ministry of Agriculture Permanent Secretary and Nelia Investment Limited directors on alleged corrupt practices in a case of failure to supply fertilizer worth the said amount. And in a statement, ACC Head of Corporate Communication, Timothy Mono, said the trio signed a letter of confirmation to Zanaco stating that Nelia Investment Limited had delivered 100% of D-compound and urea fertilizer according to the requirement of the contract when it had not done so. Miriam Kaimba, reporting for Camnet TV News.
Welcome back. You're still watching the Camnet Breakfast. Father and Saint. We are joined by our first guest coming from the Advocates for National Development and Democracy. He is Executive Director, Mr. Samuel BANDA. Please welcome to this interview.
Thank you very much.
You look very nice. And you look very excited.
Good morning.
Tell us about
Thank
it.
you very much. Fantastic. How are you?
Perfect. Thank you.
Good.
We will talk about various issues affecting the nation. Of course, as the scroll is scrolling, saying current affairs, we will delve into various issues happening in our country. You too can have your say on this conversation that we're having this morning by calling us live in studio or sending us those text messages. We'll be able to read and avail them to our guest so that maybe if there are any questions, he can respond to that. Patrick?
Interesting. Now, to get started with our conversation, among the topical issues in the country has been the issue pertaining KCM, and that's the Vedanta and the Zambian government. We understand that the two parties have opted to resolve the matter off the court and to make sure that they prioritize dialogue. The Minister of Mines has on several occasions raised issues that to say the court is not the best way to address this issue because it will continue to drag, thus affecting the people on the copper belt. However, we have had divergent views on this matter, with others supporting that Vedanta takes over the operations of KCM. Others have been opposing. Now, in studio, we have Mr. Banda, who apparently during the week or over the weekend did issue a statement where they were calling the owner KCM to that Vedanta should take over the running of KCM. Now, Mr. Banda, we want to get it from yourself now that why do you think Vedanta should take over KCM?
Thank you very much, Soko, for that very important question. First of all, I want to mention that mining is a bloodline for copper belt economy. 85% of economic activities on the copper belt are inspired or directly affected by the mining industry. Now, for over the past few years, the copper belt has been facing critical challenges regarding employment opportunities, business opportunities, as the mainstay business, which is KCM, has been embroiled in legal disputes with Vendetta Resources. And now, as an organization that advocates for development, we have observed the negative effect this has had both on the community and the business ecosystem that KCM supports. And unfortunately, the situation is getting worse. We hear reports of contractors not being paid, suppliers not being paid, including employees. All because of this KCM management legal wrangles. For so long this legal impasse continues, we don't foresee the heydays of economic and social prosperity returning on the copper belt. And now we feel this is a time that government should act on the future of this very important strategic investment, KCM. Now, we have reports that Vendetta Resources has shown a willingness to commit to corporate social responsibility that will ensure various community development programs are initiated and supported. And this is the opportunity now for the government to engage Vendetta Resources and negotiate based on the promises that Vendetta has made, which we feel are fair. We are aware that Vendetta Resources has set aside a package of 20 million USD for corporate social responsibility.
Is that worth it regarding what is on the ground? Because really, there's been so much talk about this and the negative effects that they've caused the people of Copperbelt themselves. But then this package that they are offering, is it worth it?
Yes, absolutely. 20 million US dollar. That is just under corporate social responsibility program.
That's like a handout?
No, not really a handout. A handout is something that you give.
It
doesn't really go for handout. Doesn't really go for development.
Basically,
now,
that's what corporate social responsibility
now,
is.
What to happen? These social programs, for example, if the community is in need of bars, is in need of recreation facilities. Now, apart from that, we are aware that Vendetta Resources has promised a 20% salary increment across the board. And also they have promised a 2,500 once-off payment once they are given KCM.
Payment to who?
To employees within a time frame of 3 months. Immediately when they are given back KCM. Now, what that means is that we should expect employment opportunities to be restored. We should expect business opportunities to be restored. Apparently, I'll tell you, believe you me, the people on the copper belt have lost their life. They have lost business opportunities. They have lost employment opportunities because of these levels. And we highly commend the government for the step that it took to ensure that the whole issue is addressed outside the court, which is the right direction. Now, what we want to hear now is when are they going to give KCM back to Vendetta so that we can begin to see some development happening on the copper belt, so that we can begin to see employment opportunities, business opportunities being created for our youths and women.
Patrick, before you come in, are you indirectly saying, you know, you insisting on Vedanta really gives me a lot of questions than answers. I'm not very convinced. However, we are asking the questions on behalf of the people. Are you saying we cannot do away with Vedanta and bring in another person or another institution that can run the mines apart from that?
Okay.
Like this to me sounds like a mono thing where you only have one person that you depend on.
You see, we're a country with laws. Now, let me remind you of the legal owners of KCM. And Vendada Resources is the 6th largest mining firm in terms of diversity natural resources. And it's a global brand. With its global footprint and diverse business portfolio, we believe that it has the technical capacity, the financial capacity, the technological capacity, and the strong business acumen to operate KCM effectively and efficiently and contribute to our national development. Now, you know that running a mine, it requires huge capital.
Which you think other people have?
Intensive. It requires highly capital intensive. And apparently KCM was not running the way it's supposed to run effectively. For the past 3 years, we have reports that working conditions for the workers have remained static. Yet the cost of living on the copper belt has gone high.
Everywhere?
Yeah, of course, everywhere. But
Yes.
On the copper belt has gone high because of KCM issues. I mean, copper belt economy really depends on mining activities. And one of the key ways that the government can unlock the copper belt economy is by giving KCM back to Vendada, the legal owners.
You stay in Lusaka. I'm not sure why you're very keen on that. Patrick,
Lusaka,
go ahead.
Okay, first of all,
advocate for development.
First of all,
national development, meaning all the sectors.
We are going to
agriculture, maybe it might.
We are going to break with a perspective from one of the opposition political parties who have their say. Remember, in our preamble, we indicated that on this matter we have divergent views. Remember, we had the bishops who came to give their perspective on KCM and Vedanta, and we also have other stakeholders who have been commenting.
What were the bishops saying? What were the demands?
The fresh comment is coming from the leadership movement. So let's get to listen to what Dr. Surumbe's perspective on the issue of Vedanta and KCM. Then we get back to you, Mr. Banda, so that we
also get the perspective from the 21 clergymen and the youths who listen to
you. Even aware of the number.
Actually, aware of the numbers. Let's look at that story so to refresh our memory and see what other stakeholders are saying on this matter.
It has been a political party, the UPND government, that depended on foreigners, foreign support. They've been sponsored by foreigners. And when we look at Vedanta, we have rumors that actually they were funding UPND. This is the reason why you see UPND has come into power on the ticket of foreigners. That's why we don't expect anything Zambian to be seen on their part, because they put foreigners first. In short, they are a sellout government. This is why we are seeing Vedanta coming. It's because it invested in the New Dawn government. And they don't have any backbone to even negotiate a deal that can benefit the Zambian people. This is why we are going to see continuation of selling out this country. When it comes to minerals, they are going to give up on all the minerals to foreigners because that's their DNA. They are a sellout government. They were an opposition that didn't have a plan, didn't have a program for this country. They were just alarmists, always complaining, no solution giving, and they are in power now. They are stuck. They are looking up to foreigners. This is why we have seen problems that were in the PF government not arrested, and they are continuing in their government. So now, when it comes to Vedanta, what is the position of the leadership movement? We have been clear, as leadership movement, Vedanta can never even come close in terms of talking about natural resources such as minerals. We don't put foreigners first. We would not be giving up on KCM to a foreigner who has manipulated the governments for a long time. They got KCM at a giveaway price.
Welcome back. Well, that was a clip from the leadership movement where Dr. Silumbe is explaining his issues pertaining to KCM. Mr. Banda, others feel that KCM in the past has never been a good investor.
It's never been.
But to the contrary, you are pointing out issues to say they are a largest mining.
Sixth largest.
We understand that. It's the same reason that they have been doing transfer pricing in that using their position in the mining sector. They have been able to not to conduct unfair business against the Zambian government. Hence, we saw the PF government there moving towards nationalizing the KCM, and we saw the liquidation process taking effect, Mr. Banda. Now, what makes you think they will do things right at the moment? Because we understand with the background of...
Couldn't they have done the right thing? Couldn't they have done the right thing then?
Wait. No. Now, listen.
Yes.
In this country, we have a problem.
What is the problem?
The major problem that we have is that we are always driven by cheap propaganda. And this is the reason why politicians have taken advantage over the Zambian.
Don't you think it is propaganda for this, for what is happening around KCM?
This issue of KCM. Others we are saying, no, KCM doesn't pay tax and what? I asked some journalists, look, you go to ZRA and check records. If KCM hasn't, if Vendetta hasn't been paid the tax, we took an interest because we advocate for development. And our findings are that they are clean, they have been paying tax. But contrary to what people have been saying, oh, Vendetta doesn't pay tax, so Vendetta this and this.
Are you aware that they failed to actualize their mining, their pledges? Are you aware, Mr. Banda?
Now, let me respond to what other stakeholder, Mr. Silumbe, his perception, his perspective rather.
Zambians cannot run a mine or do things on their own.
Now, look, my brother, my comrade Silumbe, is saying Vendetta is a bad company. No, they are coming to destroy the mine or the economy. Look, this is the reason why we are saying that government should expedite the process of engaging Vendetta resources. And in the process, negotiate a win-win situation there that will benefit both parties. More importantly, that will benefit the Zambian people. Let's get on the table and discuss. Vendetta is a business entity, it's a mining firm. They are coming also with their own set of conditions, terms and conditions. As a people, we must also present our conditions. This is what we want. Conditions that will ensure that we benefit fully as a country. That's what we should do. That's why we are saying that we commend government for taking a right direction, a right step by engaging Vendetta resources outside the court. Now, government what must do is to engage stakeholders. Now, those stakeholders which are not happy, those who feel that Vendetta resources is not a good investor, let them come on the table, present the conditions. That's what we should do. Now, for the past 3 years, KCM is in problems. The company is gone down. The company is losing value. And we can't sit as a country. When there's a suitable investor, Vendetta resources, with a technical capability, with a strong business acumen, let's sit down on the table. Let's give them a chance. That's what we are saying. But upon giving them a chance, let's sit down and present a set of our conditions. Imwe basoko mufuna chan, mufuna Vendetta ikaziraina bwana. The people on the copper belt. You saw the 21 clergymen.
Wait. They were sponsored.
Exactly.
We are saying people, can they substantiate? Can they give us evidence that they were sponsored? That's why I'm saying that this country have a problem. If someone starts advocating or speaking or protesting, demanding for certain things, we say, oh, no. Again, when people keep quiet, that's why we have a problem. When we see certain things not going in the way they're supposed to go, let's sit down at the table. Let's speak out. And that's why we are saying that, look, government, vendetta resources, they should sit down and engage key stakeholders, like my brother Silumba, the people on the Copper Belt, the 21 clergymen, and the youth who recently protested on the Copper Belt to say we want vendetta resources. Mind you, what is the responsibility of a clergyman? Is it not to speak for the people? Those people that are just expressing the concerns, they meet with people. Is it
part of their strategy, their communication strategy to just create a perception that there is a demand that they need to be brought back?
It's not a strategy, my brother. It's one. Look, clergymen, I will say.
Is it obvious that people can just wake up?
Clergymen are a channel of communication. You understand? The Bible says that we must be doers of the word of God. Is it not so? We must not just preach the word of God. If Soko na bwela kuli imwe that no, Mr. Soko, Nina Njala, I'm hungry. Help me with food. Can you start praying for me? No. You will find the food, you find the bread and give me. If Sharon here comes to me, BANDA, I'm hungry, I need food. I'll give her food, I'll give her money. Go buy Hungry Lion, or go buy pizza. Now, what we are saying, those people, the people on the Copper Belt, they went to those clergymen. 21 clergymen, mind you, it's not a small number.
Let's pick this call, Mr. Banda. Hold your thought.
Demanded so. Hold
your thought.
Let's pick our call.
Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, thank you. Please tell us your name and where you're calling from.
My name is Thomas. I'm calling from Livingston.
Go ahead with your contribution.
Yes, your topic is quite interesting. The problem that we have in this country is because we don't stand on the truth. When that we have dealt with it, that's the investor. And there was nothing good that was for the Zambians. So, why should we trust vendetta now? There is a saying that once bitten, twice shy. So, are there no other investors who are interested in running our copper mine? We only have to stick to vendetta, who did not give us what the Zambians are looking for. Please, let's be truthful in the way we are running this country. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Livingston representing there. You too can have your say on this conversation we're having this morning by calling us live on set like Mr. Kavanda has done. And you can also send us those text messages on our Facebook page. Now, Mr. Banda here on set, we said we will talk about various issues, but we've delved so much into the issue of the mining sector and Vedanta in particular. It brings to my attention, Mr. Banda, your insistence that the church and all those that are speaking for Vedanta are not sponsored. May I remind you, Mr. Banda, and the viewers out there, that during the previous administration, not to take you back to politics, but during the previous administration, we saw a lot of movements supporting certain things that were not even for the majority of the people. Let's talk about the Bill 10, for example. We saw a lot of billboards, a lot of
people talking about this, a lot of those were sponsored voices. Why is it different this time around that we have all of a sudden the clergy talking about Vedanta, you talking about Vedanta, we've got youths protesting talking about Vedanta? Is this part of their communication strategy, like Patrick has mentioned? Why should we believe that you are speaking honestly for the people and not that your pockets are full?
You see, that's why I indicated to say that in this country, we have a big problem.
Look at where we are coming from. Where we are coming from, Mr. Banda. What is the difference?
Let me take you back to
briefly, that's not our focus this morning, so just briefly talk about it.
Do you have evidence that those who were supporting butane were being sponsored? Or do you have evidence that those who are decampaigning butane were being sponsored?
Do you also know that it's very difficult for you to get evidence, but then you have an independent mind to know that this thing is being pushed?
We can't conclude that someone is being sponsored. However, let's stick to a very important issue here.
Yes, so
which we know that when Vendetta Resources comes back on board, they take over KCM, this country will be blessed. The people on the copper belt will benefit in terms of business opportunities, in terms of employment opportunities, supplying opportunities. Look, before 3 years ago, you could hear how people were making money on the copper belt because of
through the Black Mountain, the cadres.
Not just the cadres, even business people, small business traders who are supplying to KCM. They were making money, driving cars, big cars, building mansions, which we support. People must be happy through hard work. And now the new Dawn government, before they came into power, they promised the people of Zambia that they'll create employment opportunities. And more importantly, non-tantameni. Tantameni who handouts.
Which Vedanta is bringing through corporate social responsibility.
No handouts. Meaning that people must work hard. People must be able to create business opportunities. Now the question is that, with regard to the people on the copper belt, how do they access business opportunities from a company which is not functioning well, from a mining company, KCM, which is not running effectively, which is not giving them apparently business opportunities?
Interesting.
Now, that's why we are saying that government, we are actually calling upon government to expedite the process of engaging with data resources and negotiate a deal, mark the keyword, a deal that with the terms and the conditions that will fully benefit us Zambians, that will fully benefit the people.
So in this country, Zambia, Mr. Banda.
So we must begin to, dialogue is a key. Dialogue is very important.
In this country,
let's avoid approaching this with a political.
In this country,
That's
Zambia.
What is killing us.
In this country, Zambia, the Zambian government cannot raise enough resources to make sure that Zambians are behind the running of KCM, or the few rich people we have in Zambia put their resources together and make sure that we take over the running of the mine, but unless a foreign investor. Is that how we remain colonialized in terms of investment? Because there was a saying, I think, that say, if you think you are independent because you got freedom, colonization will come back in form of foreign investment. So now, are we going, your organization is well placed to say advocates for national development and democracy. Is this development you're advocating for Zambian driven or foreign driven?
And also, Mr. Banda, just to remind you, Minister of Mines and Minerals Development, Pokabo, says there are a number of people who have expressed interest. Why should you focus on one? Let's pick this call before you answer that question. Hello, good morning. Please tell us your name and where you're calling from. Your line. He stays in Lusaka, sir. At least, to our knowledge. Your line is.
We have offices by you on the belt.
Okay.
Now, Mushiba, or the Miranda, because the Minister Mouth.
Now, Mushiba Banda.
Now, I don't know if I'm man, how to do it. That's another thing.
Okay. All right. I meant to understand he's calling from the Copper Belt. His tone of voice says it all. But maybe you can speak to the first caller. Yes, he's tone of the voice because he asked you to say. No, he asked to say, "Are you from Lusaka or what?" Because he's speaking as though he understands what they are going through, and he's wondering.
That's like we understand. I'll tell you that a month ago we traveled in the Copper Belt and we did a research so that we can appreciate and understand the happenings on the Copper Belt. And from our findings, majority of people, they are asking for Vendetta to come back.
What format did you use to research? To find out?
Was it a qualitative or quantitative research?
What did you use?
Mr. Band.
To say the majority. Let's be careful with the words we use.
Report. Let me substantiate my point.
Please do.
Yeah. So, from our findings, people in the Copper Belt, they want the data resources to come back. It is their hope, because they have experienced the gap from the time the data resources was checked out from operating KCM. They felt the gap. Lack of unemployment opportunities, lack of business opportunities. Like I indicated in my preamble, that mining industry is a bloodline of Copper Belt economy. They can't do without mining. Mining industry there is a source of employment and business opportunities. And this is the reason, in the interest of taking development on the Copper Belt, in the interest of restoring business opportunities on the Copper Belt, employment opportunities on the Copper Belt, we want the data resources to come back and run KCM. Now, in respecting other stakeholders' views, those who are saying, no, Vendetta should not come back, we are saying that let government invite all the stakeholders.
Including yourself?
Dialogue is a key, including myself, of course, as advocate for development. Let's sit down on the table and find a lasting solution. Politicking, complaining is not a solution. We will complain the whole day. We will complain the whole year. Meanwhile, the mining firm, KCM, is losing value.
Okay.
Meanwhile, people
Hold your thought once again. Let's speak this call. Hello, good morning.
Morning, madam.
How are you, sir?
I'm okay, sir.
You sound excited.
Yeah, I'm so excited that you are bringing a program that is benefiting the nation.
All right. Tell us your name and where you're calling us from. Then you can go straight into your contribution.
Yes, I'm calling from Ndora.
Yes.
Yes, KCM is the national asset. Yes, so we can say over the past 5 years, the economy for the 3 or 4 towns, that is Quito, Chingola, Chilagombo, has been negatively affected. We know legally the owners of KCM is the data resources. Yes, so the data resources is through one of the largest global mining giants. Some of us have even worked for them. Yes, but this legal fight, as my brother was pointing out, it will never end because the previous government, the route they took was wrong. KCM was going to be incriminated on very easy violations that they made. But our government went for the easiest, which has got no legal backing. Hence, they have won the data resources. Whatever you take that cost, that case, they will still win. So the steps the new government has taken to resolve it outside the court is the best.
Okay.
Otherwise, we need justice to bend the bit and allow them to take over the mine.
Okay.
It's a very expensive mine. It is the wettest mine in the country. It has got the costly watering system globally. So, they can't even know what is the cost implications are in terms of just pumping out water. We don't have the capacity as a country as at now, because the huge debt that the new government has inherited is so huge that we are even failing to buy simple essential necessities like medicine, farming food. We are struggling. So to say we can run the mine, we should be joking. KCM, at the time some of us we went there, at 20,000 direct workers and another 20,000 indirect workers. It brought economic life to the towns of Chililabongwe, Chingola, Kitwe, and Nampundwe. That's why even our economy has been affected. So it's a very, very urgent thing that the government should do everything possible to resolve this issue.
Okay.
You see? So, what we are saying, we are supporting the easiest way, the better devil of the data coming back. Because if you give it to others, then data will still go to do the legal battle. Another 5 years, another 10 years.
Okay. All right, you didn't tell us your name though, you just said Ndola, and we got the message very clear.
Was it part of your research?
I'm sure it was part of it.
But anyway, we understand since him we worked for KCM.
So he understands.
Yeah, so he's speaking from within as well.
He's speaking from practical experience. And we appreciate his views, we appreciate his point, just like we appreciate other stakeholders who are against Vendetta coming on board. Now, you heard this point, which I explained in my preamble, that running a mine, my brother, it requires huge capital injection. It's highly intensive capital. It requires highly intensive capital. Now, as a country, you mentioned something like, why should we always be depending on foreign investors?
Yes. Why not Zambia?
Why can't we come up with homegrown solutions?
Doing its own mining.
Look, Soko. One, as a country, we lack financial power. To run KCM.
How do you generate that financial power? Isn't it the discussion we should be having?
Then secondly, we can have the financial power. Do we have the technical capacity?
We have the School of Mines. We have engineers who are even working for the same KCM, who are Zambians. Even the same person who is from talking is Zambian.
Their Vendetta resources, this mining giant, in most cases, in a situation where there's no skill or technical capacity, they engage their experts from different, from one of their mining giants. Now, which is a good thing, it helps to transfer set of important skills for industrial production, or mining skills and other set skills. Now, we haven't reached that level. Like my brother there, who spoke from practical experience, we haven't reached that level. I'll give you an example. He gave an example of, look the way we have failed to manage FISIP. Look at that. And do you think we can manage to run the mine like KCM effectively?
I'm tempted to ask you, Mr.
Look how we are failing. Just a simple FISIP.
Mining is a copper, or mining in general is a diminishing asset. We understand that. But is this country preparing for the future? Because we are talking about the copper belt being I want you to respond.
Bring in giants like Vendetta, so 6 largest they all.
I want you to.
What about the numbers?
About the 6. We can even say for the first.
But then again, Mr. Banda, you know.
But the other point is
the other point is
Vendetta are the key. They are the legal owners.
Yes, Mr. Banda, like I mentioned that time, you didn't pick. I was bringing to your attention that the Minister of Mines and Minerals Development, Mr. Pokabose, said there are more than one people or one institutions, one firm, more than one firm that is coming on board wanting to take over. Why are you giving preference without you having the due knowledge of who else is part of
even the Chinese are interested?
Very good.
Yeah, even the Chinese are interested, Mr. Banda.
You said, you heard what my brother said. No any investor can take over KCM.
Because you have no knowledge of the people that you have no knowledge.
The consent of Vendetta, who are the legal owners. Now, look. Here, the fact is that the Honorable Minister, Pokabose, has made several pronouncements regarding this issue. At some point, he mentioned we didn't know that the problems are complex, including the Vice President. We didn't know that the problems are complex. At some point, we don't have the capacity. Now, why the same way they mention about Vendetta Resources as one of the key stakeholders, mining firm, who are interested to come back, why don't they also give us other preferences of money investors? Apparently, the easiest way and the only way that we feel as advocates for national development is Vendetta Resources to come back. Because once you try to engage other investor, your money will come back to other legal battles. Meaning people on the copper belt are suffering.
So what we're trying to avoid is the legal battles.
Or opportunities. Also
it's a view, Banda. It's because they stay on the ground for other generation to come and enjoy. Because other than us depleting the minerals for nothing.
Mr. Soko, don't we have assets there at KCM which are losing value? Do you appreciate it every day?
You'd rather keep the minerals on the ground.
Let's close this chapter of KCM and Vedanta, Mr. Banda. There are other
However, I want
issues.
to emphasize that government should expedite the process of engaging Vendetta Resources and negotiate a deal that will benefit both parties. A win-win deal. The Minister of Mines should just stop making pronouncements. This time we want to hear that, no, we have given back Vendetta Resources with these terms and conditions. Which should stakeholders propose?
What qualifies a
win-win situation is that win-win situation is that we must look at both into the interests of Vendetta Resources. They are a business entity, mind you. They are not a charitable organization. And also the interest of the people.
What are the interests of the people?
Of Zambia. Good working conditions. Which Vendetta Resources
previously
they are proposing 20% salary increment across the board. If the Zambian people are not happy with it, let's come on the table and negotiate. Let's stop complaining. Complaining, nagging won't bring development.
Okay, so I'm closing the chapter on Vedanta, Mr. Banda. You are an advocate for national development and democracy. Let's talk about the issue of the Farmer Input Support Program. Highly pronounced, where other people are saying they are sharing bags of fertilizer and delayed distribution of these inputs. Are we heading the right direction insofar as farming is concerned, being the second from mining?
Not at all. And I'm happy that you mentioned that agriculture is the second to mining.
Hopefully.
Agriculture is a source of employment, more especially in rural areas. It's one of the key source of employment opportunities, source of revenue for our people in the rural areas, even in urban. In short, farming contributes highly to national development, to the growth of our economy. Without agriculture, without farming, you and me, Sharon, the way you are looking, health and beauty is because of the food, it's because of agriculture. So without without good agriculture policies, without proper management of agriculture programs, we should expect more hunger. Now, with these stories, reports that we hear that farmers are sharing fertilizer mameda, it's a sad story.
Have you gone on the ground the same way you did with the mines to see exactly what is happening?
Because that's your responsibility as an organization that advocates for development.
I'm coming to that. Honestly,
I think we have one of the last calls for today. Just hold your thoughts.
We just pick our last call.
Hello, good morning.
Oh, it's important.
Yeah, good morning.
Please.
Does Mr. Banda know that mining is not agriculture?
Tell us your name, sir, and where you're calling from.
I'm Mr. Mwanga calling from Kafur.
Okay,
you can go ahead.
It's calling from where?
Kafur.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Mr. Banda, are you aware that mining is not the same as agriculture?
Are you aware, yes or no?
Yes.
Okay,
you can
go ahead. Hello? Okay. I think he just wanted to ask you that. Are you aware that mining and agriculture are two different entities or different things?
These are two different
Pick your thoughts on
now,
I think you can proceed.
We proceed to agriculture.
Yes, the way you can proceed.
Yeah. I was saying that agriculture is a major contributor to our economy. Yeah, without agriculture, we are doomed as a country. We should expect, without proper agriculture management, we should expect hunger. We should expect the prices of food to go up. Now, with these reports that we've been getting from different people, that people are sharing media and so on, it's a sad story if truly people are sharing fertilizer media. We, as an organization, we've taken up an interest and we've done some research. And according to our research, of course not the whole country, according to our research in Chongwe, Eastern Province and Southern Province, people are not really sharing fertilizer mamida, except that the number of fertilizer, parts of fertilizer, which the previous government was given, has reduced.
How many were they given?
It's unfortunate that the New Dawn government promised that the farmer will be getting 8 bags.
How many were they giving in the PF?
Fertilizer. In the PF, they were giving 6.
They're giving 6 now?
They were giving 6.
They're giving 6 now? So they haven't reduced?
According to what we found on the ground, people are getting 3 bags of fertilizer. Now, apart from that, it's not just about giving, it's about also on the time of distributing farming inputs. The New Dawn government, let's let's be truthful. The new government here, they have failed.
I'm taking those remarks, Mr. Banda, as your concluding remarks. We've run out of time.
Of farming imports. And we're afraid that this will affect the crop production next year. And this will affect also the prices of food. Remember, when there's scarcity of food, you expect the prices of food to go up. With these unemployment levels in the country, we should expect more people not to afford to buy food.
We need more time. Your concluding remarks, Mr. Banda. Your concluding remarks. I'm not sure if you're going to pick on Vedanta or you pick on the agriculture sector. We haven't tackled some of the topics.
We want to urge government on agriculture to ensure that in the next farming season, they should manage FISIP programs on time. Proper management is the key to manage the agriculture sector, more especially in the distribution of farming imports. On mining, the government, one of the key ways the government can unlock the mining sector is by creating a conducive environment, business environment, and ensure that vendor resources or other stakeholders who are involved in mining are supported, are empowered, by ensuring that these processes which are hindered in the progress of the mining sector are addressed. For example, this negotiation process which have been going on between government and veterinary resources, the government should expedite this process and ensure that they come up with terms and conditions, they come up with solutions which benefit fully, which will fully benefit our people in the Copper Belt and the country as a whole.
Achok.
Well, Mr. Banda, we would like to thank you for finding time to be with us in the studio. We could have gone on and on in terms of discussing various national issues that are topical in the country, but however, time is not on our side. And for our dear viewers, we do not take for granted your time you've spent to just pick that call and call us in studio, as well as following the program wherever you are. From me, Patrick Soko, and my co-host Sharon Kalimbula, we say bye-bye until tomorrow when we come with another interesting episode of the breakfast on the aspect of governance, policy, and politics. Stay tuned and keep it on Camnet TV. Remember, Camnet TV is not just another channel.